Okay, I think we're actually live. I am running behind as usual. So for anybody who happens to be tuning in, I'm still trying to get my reference up and I'm having some difficulties. So bear with me for just a minute. I'm trying to get there and I'm having trouble with my mouse. Okay, let's put this a little bit bigger. I don't see anybody on, so I think we're okay. Because I really didn't give anybody an opportunity to really jump in. I'm going to try to do it every time orientation is locked, rotate device back. Okay, I'm trying to do this so I can do it. I don't know why it's not allowing me to do this. Come on, Sue. Inbox. All right, get that. So I'm trying to get my reference up. Okay, I see somebody on there. So welcome, who's here? Tell me who's, welcome to live chat, everybody. I got one person on that actually got the memo. I gotta apologize. I am, when I decide to do something, I just kind of do it. And I don't really give anybody an opportunity to jump in. So if you're watching, thank you for being here. And, so I've got to get in here and save my reference. That's how behind I am. Dusty. So we're saving references. So, oh, I've got 3 people on. Yay, I'm excited. Okay, so what I'm doing right now is I have my monitor, and this will be the dog that we're going to be painting, and that's Dusty. And, oh, I'm sorry, his name is Teddy. Why am I messing up all these animals' names? I'm not even sure. Teddy. This is Teddy. And I did, so my Uncle Richard is in Spokane, Washington, and he asked me to paint his cat and his dog. Both of them are males, and although when I already did the cat's portrait, I totally like flaked on the name, the sex, the breed, everything on this particular cat. And now I've done the same to poor Teddy. So, let me get this up. So I'll tell you what paints I'm using. Oh, wow, 5 folks. Can somebody chat me on here and just let me know who's here? Talk to me, talk to me. Okay, getting Teddy up. Ooh, we gotta get that smaller. And I'm trying my best to, right now I'm vertical and I wanna be horizontal. And I know you don't know what I'm talking about here. This has nothing to do with about my physical status. It's more about the status of my camera. Okay, all right, I got him up. So here we are. We have our guy that we're going to be painting. Okay. So also I'm gonna go ahead and tell you some of the paint colors that we're using or what we're starting off with. And I'm starting off with, let's see, I've got Ivory Black, Payne's Gray, and King's Blue. And I also have, that is Burnt Umber Cool. I have Terra, Terra Earth. I have Yellow Ochre, French Yellow Ochre, and I have kind of a raw sienna. So and I also have titanium white. So I'm gonna go ahead and flip this around for you. Let's see if I can do that. And here's our substrate. What we're starting with here, let's see if I can hove this down here so I can put you guys on there and still see, let's see. Shouldn't have hit, because you know this is live, right? When Sue totally takes and does all kind of stupid stuff. All right, let me move this down. We're gonna move this down like this. You know, I have a very, it's not a very fancy setup, folks, but I wanna give it to you. I'm trying to give it to you. And I want to be able to do this sideways, and I don't know why I can't do this the way I want to. I'm gonna move this down even further. Is anybody gonna say hi? Tell me who's there and who's watching and all that good stuff. There we go. Is that going to be a little bit better? Sorry. You know, I guess when you're setting up, I want to be able to talk to you while I'm doing it. Wow, I'm impressed. There's 11 folks on here. All right, here. I have a very, very rough charcoal sketch of Teddy on this substrate. This happens to be a cradled masonite panel that has just what's on here, this green is just an acrylic grounding, if you will. And that's what we're starting with. And I am not going to use big brushes or small brushes yet, because today we're basically just starting this out. We're just going to go ahead and start to lay some of the colors. And generally, when I'm painting, I start with my darkest colors first and work my way up. And so that's what we're going to do here. I'm going to start off using, this is a number 3 Eclipse Long Filbert by Rosemary. And you can see it's just I'm just going to start sketching on. And sometimes when I have this type of vine charcoal is a very unstable medium for a sketch. So I usually will lose most of it anyway. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna start from the middle and work my way out and just kind of get some of the dark values. Teddy is basically a black dog with light points, meaning his eyebrows, his muzzle, and some of his chest is of lighter color. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that he is a cross between a standard poodle and a Burmese mountain dog, maybe, is what I'm guessing he is. Just based on his markings, and I know he is a doodle. So for those who know me, know I am all about standard poodles. I have a standard poodle. I've had mixed breed in the past. I had my dog before Singer was a Bichon poodle mix. And so I'm coming over here and I'm looking at my sketch. I always keep I'm looking at my reference. So I may actually move some of these shapes out that aren't exactly like what I see. So I just obviously changed that little eyebrow hair a little bit. And I take off my glasses, y'all, when I'm doing I've got typical old lady eyes, presbyopia, if I think is what they call it. Basically, I use readers, right? So when I'm starting a painting out, I usually recommend to any of my students or anybody starting a painting out that it's really best, camera not focused. Is it focused now? Thank you. I said let's see, I'm trying to read who's on there. Arpit Saxa, do you premix? Okay, do I premix? No. I'm gonna show you my palette. Here's my palette. Nothing pre-mixed here, folks. I'm just going in and I mix as I go generally. So that's a good question. Is it focused now? Can you see it okay? And I love you too, whoever just mentioned that to me, whoever just hollered at me, thank you. No, I don't pre-mix. Not usually, unless I'm doing a very large painting and it has a very specific color that I know I will need a lot of, then I might mix. So I'm actually just kind of laying down my dark values, my darkest values. And I see another one here. So it may seem strange at first the way I start a piece. And so sometimes I go off my actual sketch. So it's still not, okay, so it's still not focused because I'm looking through mine and it looks focused. I don't know what to do. I hope that it will kind of get into play here. Okay, so I'm kind of, I've already just lengthened this out, so that means this is gonna come down. So I will be going off some of my original sketch because it wasn't correct. It's not, okay, so Fornick action says it's still not focused. Could it be that I have a dirty camera lens? It could be. I'm looking at my feed and it looks okay to me. So I hope that it will be better here soon. So you can see that I've actually gone off my original sketch quite a bit. And I stand back from my piece. I stand quite a way back from it so that I can see, I don't have to move except for a little bit of my eye to be able to see my reference. Does that make sense? I'm not cranking my neck around just to accommodate. So I hope this is not going to be a really messy video, y'all. I'm sorry if it isn't in focus. I'm taking a little bit of King's Blue, Payne's Gray, and Ivory Black, and I'm going to put some of the next kind of value, kind of a gray. You know, it's black hair, but it's highlit. So I see these weird shapes, and I'm always looking for interesting shapes. And remember, this is not going to be completed today. I am actually just blocking this in so you guys can see. I'm going to attempt to paint for about an hour. Somebody's going to come. Fornick Action says, I'm hoping to visit your place in the summer, and I hope you come. Give me a heads up. Make sure I'm not traveling. I'd love to see you. Okay, so I'm actually coming down on the nose too, y'all. See, sometimes I do morph quite a bit on my pieces when I'm painting. I love to have visitors. I had an interesting visitor from Idaho this week. And I love when, you know, folks come from other places and come by the studio and say hey, and it's funny, I've actually been in airports and it's, you know, makes me feel like such a celebrity, but I've been, because you have to know, if you know me, I'm a total goober, okay? Anybody who knows me well knows, okay, she's just such a goober. But I was actually in an airport and somebody said, oh, you have a YouTube channel, you paint? And I'm like, yeah, I do. And I forget that other people like actually see me and I don't see them, right? I don't see you guys watching me on my YouTube channel. Folks, I'm gonna add another color to my palette, and hey, Joy Lynn's there. Joy Lynn is one of my members, and she is there. Hello, my friend. Lynn, I'm glad you're here. I'm sorry that I'm doing this in such short notice. So actually, I'm very surprised how many people are jumping in on this live stream, because I just kind of said, let's do this. And I'm so happy to see you, Joy Lynn. For folks who don't know Joy Lynn, she's in Georgia, and she's an artist, does incredible work, and she has joined some of my workshops that I have done, because I live stream my. So, oh, hola, Carlos. How are you? You're my friend from Mexico. Hola, ¿cómo está? I was actually in Mexico City not too long ago, and no, I don't have family there. I think you asked me that once before, Carlos. But anyway, I was talking about Joy Lynn first, and Reeves, hey girl, I'll see you later, right? Reeves is one of my students, and she will be in this afternoon to paint, and we like hanging out and having a good time. So, oh, I feel so happy that there's all these people I know, and oh, what a good day. What a good day this is going to be. I just added a little bit of ultramarine blue to my palette, and therefore I can actually kind of move around a little bit more. I just added a little bit more interest. And I'm cleaning my brush real well, and I'm getting ready to add some of the muzzle color. So I'm going to take some titanium white, a little bit of yellow ochre. It's French yellow ochre by Michael Harding is what I'm using. And I just really want to get something down. So I'm using a little bit of oil too, and I am squinting. Anybody who knows me is I am a major squinter. And I say that because squinting allows me to not have to, I can only see what I need to see, if that makes sense. And so there's that. Oh, but I was talking about Joylyn. Joylyn, glad you're here. Joylyn is also one of my YouTube members. And as a YouTube member, if you, I have different tiers on my YouTube membership program. And with that, if you are on the top tier of my YouTube membership program, you can actually get, you can have me look at your artwork and critique it, help you along a little bit, sort of a mentorship program on my YouTube channel. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, please check out my YouTube membership. Of course, it's also, and like Patreon, I also have a Patreon program, but I have been really lax, and I'm being very honest about doing my Patreon just because I kind of dropped the ball. That's the truth, folks. I dropped the ball. I'm going to pick it back up soon and do it a little bit differently so we can actually have more interaction. So be on the lookout for that coming soon. But until then, please look at my my other program, which is my YouTube membership. But yes, I do have that. Joylyn is one. So thank you, Joylyn. Thank you, Joylyn. I appreciate that. She says it's well worth it, folks. And I appreciate that a lot. I am, it's funny, technology, right? I am not a technical person. I am so blessed to have a son that is, and he kind of keeps me, in the loop. he keeps me current, I guess is the word I'm wanting to use. Okay, so I'm just kind of moving some of this around, and I'm looking and seeing this is going to come down a little bit more. And I'm looking at angles. So sometimes I may make drastic marks on my on my substrate. And in this case, I see this has to come down. We're going to add some of this darker brown because he's got, as in any breed that has like a beard, you're going to have darker just from wet faces. And put a little burnt sienna in there too. Kind of strengthen that up, because of course, remember folks, this is just the very basic block-in stage, but you're gonna feel like you're gonna see this dog come alive, even in the block-in stage. We're only gonna paint for probably about an hour. And this is gonna come up, this light color. So I'm just kind of keeping my angles. I'm watching my angles. I wish that I can have you look at the reference as well. And when I do live streams. Yeah, and Joylyn's giving a holler out to Matt, my son Matt. She knows Matt because she's jumped in to my live streams and my workshops. And when I do the live streams and my workshops, folks, you got to know my son is all about that. He knows what to do. He is an amazing man, and he helps his mama out because his mama couldn't do it without him. That is the truth. So I'm using this kind of trying to get a little bit of definition here in the ear, using that combination. This bluish gray color is a combination of Payne's gray and King's blue and ivory black, okay? And I'm just trying to get my shapes in. I see this lighter colors here. There's a lot more light. So my source of light, the dog is sitting on a couch, and you can tell he's just chilling and loving life. And I'm trying to get an idea where the light source is coming from, and I'm guessing it's coming from left center, if that makes sense. It's probably coming from this direction on the dog, based on how light his nose is on one side. And I can use basically this same color, this gray color, to kind of get his nose in. So I'm just gonna suggest his nose going in here. And of course, there's always going to be a little bit of, I'm going to go in with a little bit of ivory black with ultramarine blue. Yeah. I was glad Carlos was able to join us today. Carlos is in Mexico, and he has watched me on my YouTube channel, and I was telling him that I do occasionally have the opportunity to go to his beautiful country of Mexico. I was in Mexico City not too long ago. I do work with zoos all over the world, and I was bringing a piece to the Chapultepec Zoo in Mexico City. This is the second piece for this zoo, and of the ajolote or axolotl, and it's look it up. Look up what an axolotl is, and you'll say, ooh, there's the challenge. Here's my friend. I have text. See, I have my phone, and my phone is telling me all kinds of information here. I just got another text from somebody else. Sorry, I think out loud a lot. So I'm just kind of suggesting this nose. I'm not even doing detail yet. Because some of these parts are very likely to change as I move through the piece. So I'm just really just kind of blocking stuff in. So I'm going to move down on his muzzle a little bit for his lip. His lip is probably about this area. I'm using this to make that little bit of a dark area there underneath his nose. I try not to go too impasto or thick with my paint at first, because if I have to change this, and that happens, you know, we have to change it sometimes, and I have thick goopy paint in there. That goopy paint's staying, y'all, and I'm not going to be able to change that. So I'm going to use a little bit of this burnt umber cool, and I'm just kind of just scoping parts of this little muzzle out. It goes down like that, and then there's this. So far, I seem to still be on pretty much track here, which is good. And trust me, folks, you know, I get off track. That's not unusual. I do get off track sometimes, and just like everybody else, you know, it's funny. I'll have people say to me, usually my students will say, "You make this look so easy," and trust me, folks, I get it. You know, it does. It is hard sometimes, and I make mistakes like everybody else. And anybody who is an artist that says they don't, they're lying. You know, I don't know anybody who's just, you know, but you learn from them, you move from them, you go on. That's all. That's what you do. Okay, so we're getting this in. It's starting to feel like dust. I keep wanting to call this dog Dusty. Teddy. And the reason I know this is because it says right on the top of it. This is my uncle's screensaver on his phone. And it says Teddy's portraits. So I thought Teddy was my cousin's dog. And I know they have Dusty, and I know they have Teddy, and they've had a lot of really fun dogs. Okay, so you can see I'm avoiding the eyes right now. I'm trying to still figure some stuff out. I'm just moving around. I have his nose. I'm thinking his head might be a little bit higher. We're bringing this up just a tad. So you can see that I'm always looking for, and this kind of comes out, and it's kind of the bluey gray. I've not done the background color yet. And when I did the cat painting for him, hit the button. Hit the like button, people. Yes, indeed. Thank you. Thank you so much there for Nick Action. Do hit that button. Tell folks that you're watching me. You know, of course, any kind of engagement I get on my YouTube channel helps. You have no idea, so much. I mean, I have other videos that you can go on and see, you know, some dog portraits and that sort of thing. But it does help me immensely when people watch, engage, all that good stuff on my YouTube channel. So thank you very much for saying that. I appreciate that. All right, so we're going up a little bit more. Obviously, I got a lot more black to add into here. And I move around a lot onto the piece because, like I said, I will morph on my paintings. That is no joke about that. I'm adding a little bit of ultramarine blue to my ivory black because I do like ivory black is probably my black of choice. I will, and it's a crazy thing about some colors. I'm very interested in knowing what the opacity is of my paints. And a lot of like Winsor Newton's colors, they will change opacity. Thank you, Joylyn. She says, done, Nick. So knowing that I have to change adjust some of my paints, because I used to always think, and I thought it was always the case, but I'm learning it's not always the case, that like ivory black, I always thought of it as a semi-transparent color, but I am seeing more and more of it as being opaque. Has anybody else been confused about the opacity of paint? I'm just curious, because I know how important it is for us to really adjust accordingly. And I like to, oftentimes when I'm starting out a piece, I do like to go a little bit transparent, unless it's an area that I know, I won't say transparent, semi-transparent or transparent, but because I know it's easier for me to change if it is. So, all right, so he's kind of got like a part, like a part that goes right down here on his head. And I'm gonna go ahead and strengthen up some of this darker value with ivory black. And sometimes like I will go across the grain here because I get a weird shine, a weird shine. Okay, so Nick says he uses Mars black, ivory too, transparent, but I hardly use black anyway. And you know what? A lot of folks, a lot of like what folks would call like traditional artists will say that they don't use black. They just mix their blacks. I have a student, Anne, she's taken some workshops from other folks, and she says, oh no, they never use black. And she kind of started adopting that, what do you want to call it, school of thought, which is fine. But I always figured, since the good folks of Winsor Newton and yeah, this thing's on target here. I'm going to soften that little value up, cross this out here. Have put stuff into into tubes for me. Yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm using the black, y'all. Now I usually mix it in with other things though, and that is the truth. I like when I'm doing like in the inside of an eye, for example, of a dog or whatever. Wow, somebody just sent me $10. Thank you. Woo-hoo-hoo, Joylyn. I love you. I love you. Thank you, Joylyn. Everybody, every little bit helps. You know how us artists are. We don't like to starve, y'all. So thank you, Joylyn, very much for that $10. That really does help. And who knows? Maybe one day I'll be able to afford to buy some better equipment and be able to do this better. And I would just use all my YouTube money. For folks who are always like thinking, oh, I want to have a YouTube channel and make lots of money. That's funny. I don't make a lot of money. I don't make a lot of money on YouTube. I do this because I love it. All right. I should probably spend more time painting and less time YouTubing, simply because of, economics, right? But I love it. I just love it. I love engaging with other folks and feeling like I'm making a difference with, in their creative journey, But yes, back to the eye color. Nick says, and I'm just going to call you for Nick Action. I'm just going to call you Nick. Is that okay? I do like using like an opaque black, like Mars or lamp black, when I am doing inside of eyes, and I like mixing that black with a little bit of cad red. And I like to use two opaque colors like that. And the cad red just adds a little bit more life. And for those who don't know, this dog has very dark eyes, and I know they're not in yet, so you can't appreciate it yet. But he has very, very dark eyes. And I'm going to say the eye is probably right in this area. It's actually quite high. And let's see here. And I will use my brush to check angles. You'll see me run it down like this. So if I have nostrils that are this way, those eyeballs better match up, So I will look at my reference, and actually this eye looks a little bit higher on this side. And I will, so I will morph around on my piece. As far as mediums that I use, Thank you, Joylyn, for mentioning that. Let me go back to my mediums. I basically only use linseed oil, and I have Gamvar simply to clean my brushes out. Now I just put a little bit more blue in here, and that other eye is right in here. You know, you can't see his eyes very well because he's got all this hair, but I do want to be able to make his eyes look. So yes, folks, I am coming. No, it's not Crawfordsville. It's Cartersville. I'm going to be in Cartersville, Georgia, the weekend of July 19th and 20th for a 2-day pet portrait workshop at the Booth Western. It's Western and Wildlife Art Museum. So it's a Western art museum, and it's in Cartersville, Georgia. That's not too far from Atlanta. So if anybody would like to join me, please go. You can see if you go to the Booth Art Museum, they have what is their academy, and at the academy is where I will be painting. So please check it out. I would love to have you there. They have limited spots. They really don't allow for big, I think I can have, I think the most is that they'll take or let me have is 15. I would love to have a full workshop, y'all. I had to cancel it before. It was just I was scheduled to come right there during COVID. It was after the, the shutdown. They had just lifted the shutdown, I guess in May, and it was in July, but still a lot of folks were a little leery to come out in public and go to events like this. So people that had signed up for it last time backed out. So yeah, I would love to be able to see you there. We have a good time. It'll be fun. And you get to paint your pet. Now, I will be doing 2 pets, probably a cat and a dog. And the first day I'll do a cat, the second day I'll do a dog. But I would hope that all my students that are in the class will choose one animal to paint. And I'm not gonna do too much of the little furry hairs until I get my background color in. But I hope that you can join me. I would love to have you there. And we have fun, y'all. It's a fun time. I think you're starting to see this dog come to life. He's starting to kind of come into view. I am going to take this I'm using, okay, so I have hardly cleaned this brush. If you look closely, I know it's really, if you look closely, you can see the gray paint right in there, and then I put white on the tip. I like to do that. And the reason I do that sometimes is it allows me to have kind of a, I don't know, I call it mother color. It's just, it allows me to not have, unless I need it to be a straight on white, I really don't need it to be white. I just need it to be, I'm just kind of holding a place here. And I have, so it's a little bit of the yellow ochre. It's kind of a yellow ochre gray is what I'm using here. And I know it looks white, but trust me, it is not. I'm gonna put a little bit more yellow ochre in it. I'm just trying to scope out where, I'm not trying to do the detail. I just need to kind of get it in where it's going to go. And this one's a little bit higher. Not much, but let's see here. So we'll do the details later. So now and I wipe my brush off a lot. I'm a wiper, and I use a towel. I have a towel down below, and it's got a little bit of, little nap on the towel that it helps grab some of the paint. And I don't use the paint thinner that much. About the only time I use the paint thinner is when I'm really cleaning a brush off. Sometimes in the beginning of a painting, I will use paint thinner to do a wash over the piece. I'm sorry, I just was moving that around. My phone keeps giving me other messages. You'll see that I'm just kind of lifting up, and his hairs are in there and it's dark, and I just kind of want to suggest that at this point. So there's, and the source where the hair comes, you see how I'm pulling a little bit of that in, and my brush stroke is just kind of like wham. It's like a curve. I'm curving down. Okay, so let's look at where things are in relationship to other things. And that's really how I scope painting out. His muzzle's probably a little bit bigger than what I have initially done, so we're gonna widen that out a little bit. So if I think I'm pretty accurate where his eyes are gonna line up, it's not that different. I'm gonna put a little bit more. Since this is actually quite wet, and I'm hoping I'm talking loud enough that I am, you know, making sure my music is not in the background, it's too loud. So I will keep talking very loud over it. I may have to, you know, I don't want a copyright problem here. But I do usually listen to music here in the studio while I work, and who doesn't, right? And I have to be very careful because it's live now, but it will, yeah, this is gonna come out a little bit more. If his eye is here, this comes out like all the way out to here. So if I make a mistake and I have all this black paint, folks, this thing's magic right here. I just scrape it off. That way I won't muddy up my colors too badly. I use that little scraper. It's just like magic. And I can bring this out. And it comes down a little bit more. Let's see. So yeah, this is smaller on this side than on this side. So I'm good. I'm good. Add a little bit more richness to that. Well, we will put the rest of that detail in later when it's, so his little beard, it's like he's got a little beard. Oops, let's clean that off. So I did dip in some, little bit of paint there just to scrape off my brush here. How we doing, folks? I don't know who's still here. It looks like we only have 3 right now. And that's okay. I know it's a busy day, and a lot of people are at work. You kind of jump in, see where we're at, and jump back out. Yes, Nick. This stream will stay on my channel. So I understand, because a lot of folks are probably at work. I mean, or they have, you know, other things. They got other responsibilities they have to do. I get it. So yes, this will be on my channel. I won't finish it today. This painting will not be finished today, but it will. I'll finish it probably tomorrow or the next day. Oh no, I won't be tomorrow. I won't be here tomorrow. So for my folks that are my students, that are my Saturday group class, for Saturday group class folks, I will not be here. I am going, it's my birthday actually, and I will be going to my daughter's in Nashville. I haven't seen her since she moved there in December. So I've got, sorry folks, that's my big dog. There's people looking in the window and they're watching. Hang on. Stop. Yes, my dog Singer comes to work with me every day, and he takes guarding the studio very seriously. But yes, so I'm going to get to see my daughter. I haven't seen her since December. So I'm looking forward to that. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Joylyn. I appreciate that. Yes, it is my 59, folks, 59. This is going to be a big year, I think. I like to think a lot of good stuff is going to happen. And last year, the 50s, I'm good with it. I mean, you know, I really can't complain. Everything's been wonderful. Okay, so I'm just kind of brightening that up just a tad. Same here. And you can see I do the stroke, so it follows the hair, right? It follows the hair. All right, I'm feeling pretty good about that. Sometimes it's best to work wet on wet. And, oh, Nick 67. See, we're just getting started, y'all. Getting close, I'm getting close to 60, Nick 67. So yeah. You know, they say that human productivity, especially with artists, the most productive artists often don't get like into the peak of their productivity until they're like in their late 60s and 70s. So that's a really good thing to know. Okay, I'm missing some of the combo here. I just saw that Joy Lynn was saying, and Joy Lynn 66. See, we're all just like, you know, getting it done, folks. Doing it. I'm going to start adding some of this in. And I'm going to leave out the array of ID tags. This dog's got a ton of ID tags. He's got like, you know, it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They're licenses. They're all those things. You know what? I'm going to leave that out. Because I think it'll look nicer without it. So I'm going to suggest that here, like I said, you've got almost like a straight shot down, and I'm just going to, he does have a light, here I got a little ahead of myself. There's actually all kinds of light here in here. So we're gonna scrape that off. Suzanne, doing dumb stuff sometimes. So I'm taking some ivory black and ultramarine blue, and I'm going to start to suggest, and I may do this somewhat vignette-y. You like that word? I make up words all the time. Vignette-y in that when I add the background color, I'll soften these edges so they just kind of disappear. And I like doing that. So this may look weird and it's hard to see, but I'm using, even though I'm just using this one color, I'm suggesting how the fur is curling and moving. It conveys later. So like a lot of this fur here is going to go over the edge of this, being that I'm leaving out, and I'm just kind of suggesting that. And I know it's messy, but remember, this is the blocking in. So I know that I'm going to go back in and do the refinement later. But I'm probably going to have to add the background color here before too long. And I'm going to go with the green because that's what I did with the cat. And I'm assuming that these two paintings will hang in the same area. So I'm going to say it's here. And I'm using some of this darker brown because that's what I see in the picture. And I'm going to clean that brush off because I'm jumping in with some, gotta have some sort of relief from Crazy World, LOL, yes. We all have to have some relief from the crazy world, don't we? All right, so I'm gonna take that kind of that yellow white color. It's kind of a yellow ochre gray. And, you know, I can tone that initial gray that I made with the King's Blue, Payne's Gray, and Ivory Black. I can pull that into this color to tone it, and that's what I do. So I'm looking, there seems to be a very much of an ink, I'm just gonna put this in here. And since I don't have the ID tags blocking my view here, and I'm just going to, because a lot of this is probably going to be, you know, the detail, so I don't want it to be the lightest light yet. And I have to just kind of, just leave, it's kind of like a placeholder, y'all. Because when I do the rest of the detail, it will make more sense. And I want to bring this in. I'm gonna put a little, I'm gonna actually put ivory black now. I see some warm color. Black with a little bit of burnt umber cool. The burnt umber cool is a color from Richardson. I like it. You know, I use a variety of different brands of paint. Love Michael Harding, but there's some colors that I just prefer in other brands. For example, burnt sienna. I like Michael Harding's burnt sienna, but I use a lot of Winsor Newton's burnt sienna. It just is what I expect it to be, if that makes sense. You know, a lot of different makers make their paints differently. And I still want to keep this kind of composition. I'm going to squirt out some of the greens, okay? What I used for the cat that I did for them earlier was, what did I have? It was, this is terrible. This is how come sometimes my paints are just a mess. I'm using a little bit of chromium oxide, and I'll use chromium oxide and burnt umber, and I'm going to use a little bit of I don't want red umber. I'm going to use a little bit more. Again, this is the Richardson burnt umber cool. I do like this color. A lot of burnt umbers have a little bit too much red in it for me, and I like it sometimes for that, but when I want this type of color, but I need it to be a little bit cooler, this kind of does the thing for me. Of course, if you're a minimalist, you can take burnt umber and just add you a little ultramarine or something, to it to cool it down. So I'm going to get my palette knife, and it's well worn. And I am not one of those neat girls, okay? My palette knives look like they've been worked with. So I'm just mixing a little bit of that burnt umber into my chromium oxide. It makes a really good, just a natural green that is, I don't know, it's just what I like. It's not too different than what this looks like, and you'll see. So I'm going to use a larger brush, and I'm using a 1/2 inch rosemary extra long. This is a comber, and what that means is the edges are kind of, I don't know if you can see, the edges up here are thinner than so it's been trimmed out, if that makes sense. But it's a nice brush for this too. So I'm using a little oil. I always kind of dab my brush into a little bit of oil, and I'm just going to come up here and start to block in around where I've been. So I'm going to just kind of get some paint down here, just like we're doing here. And going into the sides here like this, because I'll want to run some of that hair off to the edges, and I like a wet edge to paint into. So before I get close to the edges, I'm going to go to the areas that are not the edges and do that first. There's some browns that it's going to be in here before it comes out, so I'm just going to go right up to it. I'll get the edges too while I'm at it, but I want to get everything in here close, and I'm just kind of moving it around. You see, I'm going right up to the edges without getting into the edge. Remember I said I wanted to make a vignette. So I'm going in here because I'll kind of fade out the hair, if that makes sense. So while I'm at it, while I have a clean brush, I'm going to hit the edges. Now, these pieces will have to be dried out. Well, they'll have to be varnished, then dried out and sent to Spokane, Washington. Funny story. Not really funny, but sort of funny. My uncle has purchased pieces of mine before, and I had done a painting of a peregrine. No, it wasn't a peregrine falcon. It was a sparrowhawk, what we call sparrowhawks, or a kestrel. That's what it was. It was a kestrel. And the painting had to be varnished, and I varnished it, and I knew it was still, and it was summertime when I was sending it off. And sometimes the heat of summer, thank thanks for subscribing. Yay, Nick. Nick's on board. Thank you, Nick. And I sent the painting, I took it to the place that usually does a lot of my packaging for me to send out, because I was gonna have them do it, because I was very specific. No packing peanuts, please, and just lay it in the box and secure the corners, but do not put anything on top. And what did they do? They loaded that box down with packing peanuts and shipped it. Well, when my uncle got the painting, those packing peanuts stuck all over that painting. And there was packing peanuts. It was disgusting. And there was all these flakes, and it was the kind of packing peanuts that I guess is the biodegradable, the starchy ones. So they were breaking down in the heat with the varnish. It was a mess. So the painting had to be shipped back to me so I could take off the varnish, reapply the varnish, let it dry, and I actually took it back to the the original packers and said, y'all screwed this painting up. They made up for it though. They were very apologetic, and so see what I'm doing here right now. I'm just putting a little bit of the green. I'm mixing some of the green into the dark here. I'm pulling it in like this, just moving it around like that. So it just makes it look like it's not a severed head. I hate that. I hate the severed head. So it just lets me make that a little softer. And that's what I mean by vignette-y. It's a vignette, right? But, you know, I have to have descriptive terms for what I'm doing, and it's vignette-y. So, yeah, they actually paid, they shipped it back for free, and they reimbursed me the time that it took to, you know, which I'm appreciative. They did make good on a bad job, but especially since I was and I'd used them for years, and they had somebody who just did it, I guess, and just did their own thing. And okay, I kind of like that. I'm gonna leave that alone right there for now. And so I don't want the edges, and this is a comber, remember, so I don't know if you can see, but the edges, see how they're split there? That's supposed to be that way. So combers are great for making grass, if you want that texture, but this is working good for this too, and I'm just kind of want that soft edge, and that soft edge is gonna be important when I get up here in the hair. So I'm gonna get a little closer now with this color, where I didn't get because I just wanted to keep it. There we go, it's fine. Sometimes I just don't want to breathe when I'm working. Does anybody else stop breathing when they're painting? I'm just curious. Okay, so let me see what part of this conversation. I have to lean back to see it. Yes, during COVID was when I started my channel. So Joy Lynn says she found me when I was just starting out, because it was during COVID. And COVID was for artists, that's a professional artist, that I have my work in other galleries. So when the shutdown happened, I was cut off immediately. My source of income, because all the galleries were closed, not just me, but the other galleries that carry my work, so they can't sell my work. I couldn't reach my students in the studio, so I was cut off from the teaching money that I make. And so I'm like, okay, well, what are we gonna do? And that's when I learned about Zoom, as did everybody, I suppose. I learned about Zoom during that time. And I was able to teach my students, and my students were wonderful because they stuck with me. They allowed me to continue to pay my bills. I started painting on YouTube and reaching a wider audience. It takes about a year for me anyway. It took me about a year before I was monetized. But again, I didn't do it necessarily for the money. I was doing it as a way to stay connected. Folks, I like people. I like people, and I missed the contact. And so in a sense, I felt like I was reaching an audience, you know, I was reaching folks. And what I'm doing here, folks, I know I'm talking and running my mouth, but I'm taking advantage of the soft edges. So I'll just lift up, and it helps make things look a little softer and furrier. Yes, indeed. Controlling your breath is a good exercise. You're right. And I try to do that every now and then. But I will stop breathing sometimes. I have to remind myself, oh, Sue, you got to have that oxygen supply. So I'm getting my soft edges here, folks. And I'm still using the same brush, the number 3 that I started with. So, and there's all these little wiggly hairs, and some hairs will come in later when I need them to be sharper, but for now I got to work on the soft ones. And I have it a little bit impasto here. I'm going to get my gray it's a lot of gray right up here. It kind of swoops up like this. Let's see what that is. Let's see here. There's some hair that comes down like this. You know, so I'm just looking at the movement and the direction that the hair's lying, and that's kind of the fun stuff. But yeah, that's when I started my YouTube channel, and I was teaching on Zoom, and I was selling. A lot of my collectors understood my situation, and they supported me. I was posting a lot more of my art online, and that was reaching a lot of my current collectors and creating new collectors, and they were buying my art. So that actually saved me. So, you know, I guess I'm one of those choose to find the silver lining in something that was very scary and very, you know, COVID was scary. Just the lockdown was scary. We didn't know what to expect. We didn't know what was going on. And that's my silver lining. It's I got to learn to reach other people. And for me, I'm going to say that was a blessing. You know, so it sounds weird to say that COVID was a blessing. And I won't suggest that because I know a lot of people will not agree with that comment because they may have lost somebody. And it was a very scary, serious thing. But it taught me a lot, as it did a lot of people. You know, people started realizing that maybe I can work from home, or I can do this differently. So what I'm doing here, if you can, I wish I can get close for you to see this. I'm using this little edge here, just kind of making it messy and working it into that green paint. That's what helps make it soft. And it also, by working a soft edge like this, it will help to make your subject matter become part of the background, not just patched in to the background, if that makes sense. Soft edges are key, in my opinion. I do like a soft edge on any painting. And you know, like any artist, I'm sure, I scrutinize other artists' work. I'm looking at it real close. I'm like, oh man, that's a really good soft edge. You know, I get into that. That's the fun stuff for me. All right, so I'm using actually the Cool Burnt Umber by Richardson to do where, for some reason, I see a lot of warmth in the colors down here. So I'm using that instead of the black. It's you know, it's value-wise, it's still very dark, but it's a little softer and a little warmer. And I'm just kind of, like I said, I'm just going to vignette it off. I'm just going to fade it off. And I like that look, y'all. I do like the look. Well, we still got 8 folks here. Yeah, I think it's a nice effect. Yeah, let's say, well, I gotta go working on a larger desert scene, 2 by 3 feet. Fun, fun, fun. Well, Nick, share it with us. I'm on Instagram and obviously YouTube, Facebook. I have a website. I'd love for you to connect with me even on my other social medias, and I would love to see what you're working on. It sounds like fun, and I look forward to it. Thanks for joining us today, and you know, I will probably only be painting for a little bit longer myself, but I'm going to try to take this a little further. I just want to get these edges, and but I appreciate you joining me. All right, see, I like that soft edge. There we go. That looks good. What a fun dog. I'm looking at his face. His face is coming to life for me, and I'm like, What a fun dog. Thanks, Joylyn. I try to make it not stressful. Painting should be fun. You should love what you're doing, the process. I'm not gonna lie, there are days when I do feel stressed and there's somebody looking into my studio, so hopefully they're just looking in, they see my dog laying there, sleeping, which is good because he's not barking. And yeah, I'm just kind of softening that edge here and there. And we're kind of, I have left out the eyes, and of course the eyes will come. But I'm just trying to figure out where everything's going here. I'm using the blue ivory black mixture because I see it looks bluer in here. This eye is right in there, and there's that dark blue too. Okay, well, I feel like that's probably getting to be where that needs to be. I hope that I'm correct on everything else. Put some of the darker values back into the hair, but I'm putting ivory black and ultramarine blue. And some of these, I'm gonna just put some of these in, and I'm not gonna do the eyes today, folks, at least not now. I actually am going to work a little bit on my cabinet project. Occasionally I will go live with some of that too, simply because I'm working in acrylic on the cabinet project, and acrylic is something I can fly through a piece. It's just a little bit, that medium is a little bit different for me to, let's see here, I'm just gonna, and see, sometimes I'll use the brush going up in an up direction. Hello, CC Kelly. CC Kelly. Hi, CC Kelly. We're gonna. Thanks, Joylyn, for keeping me alert to all the folks coming on. Because when I'm painting, sometimes I just get in the zone, y'all. I just don't look up, and I can see a little bit. All right, so I'm looking for my shapes, and remember, I'm always looking for shapes here. All right, do I have enough distance? So a lot of times I'll say, okay, where's the distance here? And I see a very dark value here. It's probably a lot straighter than what I did. I sure hope you can't hear all my music, because if I am, that means I won't be monetized on this one. Please tell me you don't hear a lot of loud music and you just hear my big loud voice. That would be good. So I'm doing this, getting that in. I'm just looking at my overall shapes, y'all. Just looking at my overall shapes. Yes, Cindy, this is Cindy, right? Cindy from West Virginia. How are you feeling? I hope you're doing good. I'm glad you're here. Sorry, we're almost going to cut out for the day. I kind of did this, as I often do, with very little heads up or notice that I'm going to jump on here and start doing this. So I apologize for that. But, Cindy, you might want to follow me on other social medias if you aren't already, because I did put it out on my Instagram as well. And, I am blessed with an amazing son that does all the social media stuff for me. But, he's a man that works a real job and has a real life, so I can't expect him to do everything for me. So I just kind of fly by the seat of my pants often and just go ahead and do a live stream. But I'm going to try to do better in alerting my folks when I go on. I'm glad you're doing well, Cindy. All right, so I'm putting this in here, just getting a little bit more on. I was hoping my uncle was going to jump on. He must, Spokane, it's several hours difference in time. So he could be like out on his walk or sleeping or, Okay. I'm looking for dark values. So before I finish up for today, I like to at least get all my dark values in, and I'm going to pull that down because it gives me something to jump. So later, when this is a little drier, I'll be able to pull these lighter values on top and put like some of the, so you can see if I do a curl. I know it's hard to appreciate what I'm doing here, but like if I do a curl and I can just take, and it's wet, I straight, and that's King's Blue, and right on top of it. So, you know, I can just do the highlight and just follow that same, if that makes sense. And we'll get some more in here. And being that this is a part doodle, I mean a part poodle, the curls, it's a kind of a funny thing. We think of dog's hair as going in a particular direction, usually from the neck towards the tail. It usually lies that way. But with standard poodles, it's hair. It just kind of comes right out and just goes all over the place. So when you have a mixed breed of one that has fur and one that has hair, you get a little bit of a different, now the way these curls are going, it looks very much like a poodle's hair, but it's a little softer. So you see, that's how I'm getting the highlights on there. It'll be almost time to get done for today. I'll paint a little while longer. I said I was going to paint for an hour, but I got started a little bit later. You know, me and my technical issues. And the technical issues are just my being not prepared. That's usually what it is. I'm not going to lie to you. I just wasn't as prepared as I should have been. I was scrambling because I thought I could just do a quick little live video and have it up so you guys would know I was going to be on. And then I thought I was just going to be on, and it didn't work out that way. Plus, I didn't even have this reference into my monitor over here. So I had to run and do that, and yeah, typical Sue. Okay, we're just going to make sure things are where they need to be, so when I stop, I'll be able to just resume. I'm going to put some dark values. Anybody who knows me knows I like my dark values. My students have been asking me to have merch. And, you know, as far as merchandise that I could sell, because they want to buy it. And I know I want a t-shirt that just says dark values. That's it. Either dark values, it's an artist thing, or just dark values. And it's a mantra. It's kind of what I say, dark values, dark values. Oops, there goes my picture. My monitor times out sometimes on me. I just got to press a button here. Let's see. I'm glad. So I'm glad that Cindy and Lynn have something in common there, and I appreciate. I love when my friends and students and all my folks support each other. I am blessed with so many amazing students that I have here in the studio, and I love how they are so supportive of each other, and supportive of others that come through the studio in one way or another, whether it's through social media and whatever. I think it's wonderful when human beings connect one way or the other. And I know I sound weird and sappy, but it's just one of those things. I don't know how else to say it. That always makes me happy. So thanks, ladies. I like that you're together on this. And I'm just kind of hitting a little bit more dark values and to make sure that I have my shapes, if that makes sense. So I'm using a little bit of that cool burnt umber, putting some of the dark values, and since I'm going up. So remember, brushes work in lots of different directions. They can work up as well as down. I know with a lot of painters, they're so used to going bump, 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 bump. It's nice to go up, 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 up too on your stroke. Knowing when you load your brush, when you first load your brush, wherever it goes down first is gonna have the greatest load, right? So with that said, I don't want a lot of brown up in here, but I do want some. So I'm going from the base up. Does that make sense? And then moving around in there. I see a little bit of a redder. So I'm mixing a little bit of burnt sienna and the burnt umber and putting a little bit more in there. And I'm doing that now because when this dries or whenever I get to come back to it, I will have that to work off of, to put lighter colors on top of it. Put some more in here. There's a little bit of and again, I'm gonna put some darker through this. There we go. Yeah, so Joylyn says, that fits me to go ahead and have some merch that has something like that. So it's curious now that you said that, if I did have merch, would anybody ever really truly be interested in it? Like, would that be something that you'd be like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to get my Dark Matters t-shirt, or my, I'm sorry, Dark Matters, Dark Values, or I have one of my students, her name is Jenny. She's one of my Saturday group students. She makes she'll take a paper towel and fold it over, and she holds it, and she makes almost like a mini palette on a paper towel. So she'll be like paint, 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 like this. And when she does that, it's funny because she wants me to make just those, those little rubber bracelets. She wants me to stick the palette in her rubber bracelet so she can do it like this. Makes sense, right? I think it's genius. And she's like, when are you gonna do your merch? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm gonna put a little bit of this redder color in here. I see it in the fur, just a little bit. Anyway, it's something that I'm tossing around. So, Cece says, okay, so Cindy says she'd be interested. All right, cool. I mean, I just have to figure it out. I just have to figure it out. Folks, I'm getting ready to wrap it up for the day. I'm so glad you guys came, especially since it was such a short notice and I just kind of sprung it on you. Joylyn, thank you for being one of my members on my YouTube channel. And thank you for your support. You've always been around. You've been a good support and a cheerleader. So thank you for that. And it's true. We can all use a cheerleader every now and then, right? And so, Joylyn, thank you. And I hope that others who might be watching might consider my YouTube membership. There's different types of membership that I have there, and there's something for everybody, I think. All right, I'll put a little bit of dark here. Yeah, it's hard to know where to stop for the day, so I'm gonna stop now. I'm just gonna lay my brush down. Again, thanks for joining me today, and we'll catch you next time. I'll try to give you more heads up, all right? But I'm really tickled, excuse me, with all the folks that showed up in such a short notice. And Joylyn, also, thank you for the extra gift there, the $10. It's always, that kind of stuff helps so much. You have no idea. So thank you very much. And until the next time, I'll catch you here from Kingsport, Tennessee. I'll flip it around just to say bye. This is me being very, let's see if I can. Can I? Yeah, I can. I'll do it. Thank you so much. And like you can see, here's my setup. There's my reference. There's my paints. And there is the painting. So you can see how close I am when I'm painting. And sometimes I'm even closer on the actual, the reference. So thank you guys, and I'll catch you soon. All right, bye.